What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So this is something that experts are saying we should be extremely worried about. Now, it doesn't have to do with the stock market falling. It doesn't have to do with real estate slowing down. It has a little bit to do with the supply chain issues getting worse and worker shortages becoming the new norm. But those are all problems of the problem. So what is the real problem? The problem is COVID. And now in particular, it's Omicron. But guess what? Things are actually getting much worse. According to reports, and there was a report just this afternoon, it stated that scientists in Denmark, they now show that there's a new Omicron subvariant. It's called BA.2. This is actually 1.5 times more contagious than Omicron, and it's already circulating in more than 50% of US states. That's an issue. That's a big issue. And health experts worry. And they say that this is what they've always been worried about. What if there's a variant that is more contagious, more deadly than Delta? We got one that was more contagious, but less deadly. Now the worry is we have a subvariant. Not a new variant, a subvariant of Omicron, which is going to spread 1.5 times as quickly. Now, this is an issue. Now, just understand these studies are still going on. These reports, scientists are still looking into this, but the initial reports are 1.5 times as transmissible. That's not great. Now, even though we know that vaccines plus boosters are just as effective against this new subvariant, here's the problem. The problem is that the vaccines plus boosters didn't cause people not to get the virus. It just reduced their symptoms for most people. So, what happens if you do contract COVID? Doesn't matter if it's Delta, Omicron, or this BA.2. It doesn't matter. You would have to be isolated, according to the CDC, for at least 5 days, and then wear a mask or get tested for the next 5. So, here's why this is such an issue. And according to experts, this is why we should worry. According to reports, this new variant that's already at 50% of US states, if this continues to spread 1.5 times as quickly, this could mean for even more problems. Now, let me show you this drawing that I got, right? So, it's not the best drawing, but it will work, okay? Let me show you this. Here's what I can tell you. COVID turns into worker shortages. Worker shortages turns into a supply chain issue. And then the supply chain issue turns into an economic slowdown. All of these things combined turn into a recession. Okay? That is not great. That's not good news. That is not what we need at this time, or really any time. But when you are struggling, what's the last thing you want? Is to go into a recession where the unemployment is usually higher. We see an economic slowdown, and then you throw in COVID on top of that. That's what experts say that we could be looking at in the future. And when people can't work, it puts the economy under more pressure. And just recently, okay, the US Census Bureau, let me show you this one. The US Census Bureau, they are saying that since from December 29th through January 10th, okay, right here. Let me show you this, right here. All this, okay? 14 million Americans didn't work at some point between December 29th and January 10th due to COVID or related impacts. How big is that? That is huge. Now, one thing I can tell you, and this is what has many people worried, this also has the White House worried. The White House is trying to figure out what's going to happen moving forward. Here's the problem. We have a jobs report that comes out next week. This is going to show what jobs look like for January. And the White House is worried that this could look very weak. This could somewhat skew the data. Now, when we see a weakness in jobs, This could actually cause the Federal Reserve to really change course in what they are trying to, pretty much attempting to do. Now, if they raise rates like they're planning, it's going to hurt jobs. But not raising rates will cause inflation to run away, which is going to hurt jobs as well and cause just catastrophic issues across the economy and potentially across the world. Now, we could see the Federal Reserve increase rates at double the rate. That's likely what's going to happen. And this would likely cause employers to limit their expansion, reduce their largest expense, which is employees. Now, when employees are let go, when rates increase, credit is reduced, and when credit is limited, then it normally causes a recession. However, this normally takes months. But experts say that we could be in a state of uncertainty until the next recession begins. But when exactly is that going to happen? Well, according to Barron's, this could come in the middle of 2024 because it takes about 8 to 19 months once the yield curve inverts. Now, I want to show you a chart. Mark this up a little bit. I want to show you this because this is important to know. In 2020, we should have been in a recession. We should be in a recession as of right now. And I say this because if you look at this chart right here, okay, just look at this. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because what we've seen in the last two recessions, 2000 and 2008, right? But here's what you need to know. That this one right here, okay, you see where the numbers inverted and they went negative? That's the problem. We should have been there right here in 2020. We didn't. Technically, the pandemic saved us from going into an earlier recession. But guess what happened? Then we saw the markets, right? We saw everything just shoot up. And yeah, it looks great now, but the problem is we're coming back down. So here's the real issue. And this is why I think it's so important to understand what we're looking for. The real issue is that nobody's prepared. Nobody's prepared. According to experts, they are not prepared for businesses. Businesses are not going to be able to make it through a recession. Not at this point. The average worker, the average American can't make it because we just struggled for 2 years fighting off this pandemic. So, here's what we do know. We have time now to figure things out, get ready for the next recession because employers are going to let people go. So you need to make sure you are somewhat fireproof. You are the glue that holds that business together. Okay? You need to make sure you have debt paid down. You have savings. Financial experts say you need at least 6 months of expenses saved up. But let me ask you this. How many of you have 6 months of expenses saved up in a separate account? Not in a checking account, which you just constantly use, in a separate account. Let me know down in the comment section below. Because I've been saying this since the pandemic started, is to do whatever you can, save up money, okay, pay off debt, and create a side hustle. Those are the 3 things that I said. And the reason I said that is because I assumed the pandemic was going to be the recession. But the pandemic is leading into the recession. So we are coming up on hard times right into a recession. Things are going to be bad. They're going to go from bad to worse. And the reason I say if is because we still have a chance to get out of this. But according to experts, there's a higher chance we dip into a recession in the early to middle part of 2024. Okay? We're already seeing some of the things that are going to play out. The stock market, what's going to happen? It went up today, but over the past few days, it's just been dropping. It was ridiculous this week. Okay? Crypto's falling. Many people took their stimulus money, took savings, took investments, threw it all into crypto and really just overvalued stocks. Now they're overvalued now, but in the next 10 years, they're going to be doing extremely well. But that's the thing. Most people aren't going to wait 10 years. Again, another problem. So right now, Should we be worried? According to experts, they say yes, we should be worried because things are going to only get worse. Okay? So I just wanted to show you those few things, but that is what we know as of right now. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. And again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I like to bring you the facts, what we are seeing. Now, it is not a fact that things could get worse. That is an assumption, a prediction. But a lot of the people that are saying things are going to get worse, well, it's an overwhelming majority. So I just wanted to bring you that news so that you guys are prepared as well. So just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Sorry if I made you worry, but this is something that is very serious and we should at least have a little bit of knowledge on. So again, hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing and I'll see you guys on the next one.